my
I
friend.
mean,
I saw El
well,
Coyote.
you know,
Made
I
me
you
hungry.
I caught COVID on my birthday, right?
I know you did. That sucks. I had a cold on
I
my
did this
10th
snore,
birthday.
snore, snore.
I had a cold on my 10th birthday and I had the flu on my 13th. It sucks to be sick on your birthday.
Oh,
I'm
I was
sorry that happened.
great on my birthday. My sister
Yeah.
took me out to lunch. I had a
Yeah.
wonderful time. I got together with friends and stuff,
Uh-huh.
the night before. Yeah, I had a lovely time. But,
Yeah.
this is why, it sucks to be with all these bugs going around. But then we
Yeah.
went and got ice cream that Saturday.
Yeah.
I don't know. I started having weird symptoms even before that, and so I'm wondering if it's even before had my birthday, 'cause I was we were running up a hill, and I was like, "Ugh, I'm having trouble breathing." I was thinking, "Oh my god, I'm getting old. I don't usually."
Yeah. Yeah.
So, boy, but I'm feeling good now. How about you? How are you feeling?
I'm doing just great. Saturday night I went to see Brian Stokes Mitchell in concert. He's a big Broadway star, Tony winner, and I didn't know that he had COVID back in 2020. He told
Right.
about it on stage, and of course, for a singer, a Broadway singer, to have it go into your lungs and to not be able to breathe, but he survived it, and he was back on stage in full force.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
thank frickin' God. Well,
yeah. Thank God for
um
you too. I'm glad you're
oh,
okay.
yeah, well, I
Yeah.
am good. Well, I don't know how you woke up this morning, Chuck, but how do you usually wake up in the morning? Let's talk about this.
How do I wake up? I
Like,
don't
what
know.
time do you usually wake up?
Oh, well, I'm bad. I'm bad. I usually get up about 9 a.m. And that's because I have the luxury of working from home, sitting my hours. I've always been an innate night person. So I usually don't go to bed till like 2 a.m. or so. But I've been that way since I was a little kid. I could never get to sleep when my parents would make me go to bed early, like most little kids. It's just I have a body clock that works better at night. I get very creative in the evening. So I sleep in late
Yeah,
as a
well, a
result.
lot of research has shown that artistic types tend to be more at night,
Yes.
and
Yes, very much so.
and then farmers, people that grew up in the country, they tend to get up early, and the people that
Sure.
work with their hands. But the people who migrated to the cities or who tend to be more artistic tend to be night people. And
Yeah.
people in the spiritual community say that's because they draw on the energy of the moon. And
Well,
the
I'm a
moon is at
Cancer.
night. The moon is at
I'm a
night. And the
Cancer.
moon,
As a Cancer, I'm very attuned to the moon.
crazy.
That may say a
Do we
lot
have
about
any astrologers in the house? Because that makes so much sense to
our
me.
wonderful Joyce Petrus. I think I saw her on here. I think you're here, Joyce, aren't you? Yes, she is.
Ah, that
Joyce
is
is
so
a superb
wild. That is so
astrologer. So,
wild.
Joyce, weigh in on this. But ever since I was a little kid, you know how parents will make you go to bed when you're like 9 o'clock or something like that. And I'd lay there awake until midnight or 1 in the morning. I could not go to sleep. I am a night person. I've always been.
Wow. Well, I usually wake up the same way, which is that I usually stretch and I usually always give a signal to my kitty where I always
Yeah.
pretend like I'm crying like crying like a kitten. Like I go, and then Mila
Well,
rushes to me and then kisses my face. And
mhm.
that's usually my lovely morning. And then I say, Mimi, I need to go have coffee. And then she's like, oh, get up,
That's
get up,
good.
get up, my darling. And then I
Oh.
usually start the coffee and then she guides me into the bathroom and then I get to feed her. It's like she thinks it's her job to get this ignorant large
Oh.
animal up from the bed, guide her towards her now guide you towards the food bowl, right? But
Yes.
today
Yeah.
was different.
How is it different?
Because I woke up to a strange and awful smell.
Oh, no.
I woke up to a strange and awful smell, and I went, "Ah!" And then as my kitty oh, do I have something on my as my kitty came to kiss me, they became larger, and I realized that today was going to be another kitty laundering day because,
Uh-huh.
unfortunately, kitty Mila is getting older, and she
Yeah.
had, accident all over herself.
Oh, no.
And in a desperate attempt to get it off of her, she rolled in it.
And then rolled on you.
Rolled all over the floor first.
That sounds like
And
what
then tried to
would
get
do.
onto the bed. No! I stopped her, and then I grabbed her. So I I washed her again in one of those bins, the
Ooh.
dishwashing bin, and she always gets and she always gets fooled because, this is how you're supposed to do a cat, right? Not to do a big swim because that makes them think they're gonna drown. Instead, this is what pet psychology.
My.
Anyway, so I put her in it, and it's a really perfect, warm, comfortable. So when she's like, "What's happening here?" And so when you
Yes.
put her into it, Mila's like, "Ow, it's like a warmed seat in the car. Okay,
Uh-huh.
this doesn't," and just soak that part of her area.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started to try and wash the other part, she freaked
Yes.
out. It
Yes.
was disgusting. But
Yeah.
anyway, we got the cat clean, and so
Well, thank
that was
goodness.
yeah. And then finally, I got to have a cup of coffee. Yeesh. All
Oh.
that work for just one cup of coffee.
Oh, I go through that, except all cats seem to have this thing about throwing up on nice things, never on tile, linoleum. No, it has to be the couch. It has to be the bedspread. It has to be the cashmere jacket that you laid out and
It
forgot
has
to
to
hang.
be the best of the best when I puke.
Yes. Oh, once I had a cat take puke all over one of my paintings. She got on top of it, went,
So now
and
even
it
the
just
cat is a
ran.
critic. See,
Our critic, yes.
if it
But
were Vincent Van Gogh, he would have went, "Bravo,
bravo.
bravo,
Or if you're an
better, better." He was
or if
so
you're an
humble.
abstract artist,
Yes,
you just incorporate it,
right. Van Gogh would have thought that it was an improvement if his cat vomited on his paintings.
Maybe so.
Well,
But
let's. I'm sorry. Were you going to say something?
I was just gonna say, someone named Another Beautiful Day. I like that name. Said there are cat diapers on Amazon, and they work great. Yeah,
Oh.
something to look into.
Well, thank God this only happens about once every 2 or 3 months, if that, maybe even less. But,
Good.
supposedly this is something that happens when they get older.
Mm-hmm.
But who's here? Let's turn the camera around and
Well,
say hi to people.
I was just going to say, first of all, Joyce answered my question. She said, she's quoting her, said, I would say it has to do with what planets are in your personal chart. So, Joyce, when we talk, maybe you can tell me why I'm a night person specifically. But let's see here. We have, of course, with us the wonderful Joyce Petrus. We have Rose Blue. We have Andy.
Hi, Andy.
Our magnificent Joel Tilson. Hi, Joel. Let me keep scrolling here. Valerie and LB,
Valerie.
Rose Blue. Let's see, I'm trying to not repeat names here. Anna Martinez, Lisa, Sybil, Marissa, Rainey. That's a great name. Rebecca.
Ooh, I like that. Hi, Mila.
I do. I like that name too.
Hi,
I'm trying not to
Mila.
repeat names here.
Come say hi
Mary,
now that you're all
Catherine.
asleep.
Let's see. And I always love this name. Never Too Late to Dream. Never Too Late to Dream. That's great. That's my philosophy. It was. I think it was Jimmy Carter who said you only grow old when you no longer have your dreams.
Is he still alive? He passed,
Oh no,
right? Finally?
he passed. He passed the age of 100.
That's right.
A few weeks ago. Yes. But yes, we have some wonderful, wonderful people here. I was Holly and let's see, and Connie. Looking for some other names here that I'm not repeating. But anyway, I always feel like it's romper room and I'm holding up my magic mirror. But it's nice to have these wonderful people here. And some of you I've even spoken to on the phone, when I've made calls for Whimsy and I've gotten to know you personally. So it's just like a nice family we have out there. And there's Mila. There's Mila right behind you, all freshly laundered.
She is freshly laundered and brushed and clean. She's no longer giving me an allergic reaction. Also give a special shout out to the amazing Colleen. Colleen, who I told you when I first met her, I saw a fairy fly past her head.
Yes.
And then I thought I was losing my mind. And then she sent me film footage and it was the same fairy. It looked like a Tinkerbell. Anyway, She was nice enough to get these for me so that Mila,
Oh,
I can just launder these. So she just goes on
that's
these. And I
wonderful.
also, sometimes Mila likes to sit on me and I just put them on my lap like this. And then I've got 4 of them. At first
Uh-huh.
she didn't like them and now she covets them. Isn't that crazy?
Well, they're her possession now, her
Yeah, I
property.
think she started to realize that they're hers.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, so I've already laundered 2, and I just opened this one up for her, and yeah, now she can lie on my bed, and I just put these down, and she knows that that's her place. Isn't that
mhm.
crazy?
That is cool. I think it has to be on the cat's terms. They have to decide it's theirs, not us imposing it upon them. But I was just going to say, Sasha, when you were asking me how I wake up, I always
Mhm.
wake up with her right on my chest, like her breath and my breath go mingling together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kinda how my Mila's like.
Yeah, and I always have to wake her up and push her off grudgingly before I can get up out of bed. She's never too
Mhm.
happy about that.
Well, I had a lovely visit from a man named Kevin from Comcast yesterday.
Ooh,
Yes,
really?
very good-looking,
Mm-hmm.
gentleman
Tell me
from
more.
well, he was from Nottingham, actually.
Nottingham.
Yes, I heard
Naughty.
somebody. Yes, I heard someone on the phone with a Nottingham accent come and say hello.
Ooh,
And
yes.
he came and fixed everything. And
Uh-huh.
the problem was that I did not have an Ethernet cable that was specific to Comcast, so they had to give me a Comcast Ethernet cable to improve the
Yeah.
signal. So that's what happened.
Excellent. So you fixed your problem.
Yeah, I think this is the best it's going to get. It is a crowded system, but yeah, this is the best he could get it,
Hmm.
which I think is much, much better than it was, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, it certainly looks and sounds great from my end. I hope it looks good to
Yeah,
the viewers out there.
yeah, I think it's fine. So listen, did
Yeah.
you get a chance to look at our new book of the month?
I have glanced at it. I've glanced at it. I haven't had a chance to really start reading it in depth, but
Mhm.
I'm starting it. It looks quite intriguing.
Yeah, so those of you, if you'd
And I
like to
should have had my
join,
copy held up here. Where did I put it? I
it's
put it
okay.
on. I'm so sorry. I should have had it here handy, but I have my copy.
Yeah, so The Sunny Side of Crazy by Trisha Micucci. She will be in our studios May 13th. I actually accidentally told her the 12th. The 13th is Tuesday.
Yes.
And so we should have a lovely time with her. It is The Sunny Side of Crazy about a woman with 6 personality disorders.
Yeah. I'm looking
Excuse me.
forward to this. I'm looking forward to talking with her. And of
Mhm.
course, this is going to be just after you get back from
Mhm.
Israel, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just after I get back from Israel. As As of now, I don't plan on canceling the trip, but there is a travel advisory. We'll see
Hmm.
how it goes. If
Okay.
things escalate with Iran, excuse me, Iran and the Houthi and all of that crazy stuff that's going on.
Mhm. Would
Well,
the
I can't.
airline, yeah, would the airline allow you to postpone your tickets, move them up to a further date?
Um, excuse me. We'll just see what happens.
Okay.
We'll just see what happens. So have you kept up with the news? What's the latest in the news right now?
Oh my God, where do we start? Where do we start? What is going on right now?
Well,
Of
what
course,
my
there's.
question? Let me
Well, I mean,
restart.
it's like what uh, I was just going to say. What is the latest constitutional crisis? But please
That's
talk. I'm
actually what I
sorry.
wanted to say. Is that
Yeah.
that was a bad lead-in. Let me try again. So,
It's okay.
the biggest story that everybody wants to talk, and I get everybody's emails. Thank you, everybody. If you ever want to have me cover a topic, just send your notes to whimsyanderson@gmail.com. And
Yeah.
Chuck and I are usually pretty good. And then I usually send everything over to Chuck, and then we build a show from that. So the number one issue that people want to talk about is Adam Schiff calling it a constitutional crisis.
Yeah.
For people who don't know what's going on, Chuck, can you explain to people a little bit about what's happening?
Well, of course, there was a man wrongly deported to El Salvador, an El Salvadorian citizen who was initially here illegally, but he had gone through the proper channels. He eventually got a work visa. It was determined by the courts that he was wrongly deported. And now the Trump administration is claiming, well, we don't know how to get him back now. We don't have that capability. And he had a meeting the other day with the El Salvadorian president, Nayib Bukele. Am I saying that correctly? And the El Salvadorian president was basically saying kind of the same thing, writing off like, what do you want me to do about it? You know, is that kind of attitude, like very lackadaisical, like it was no big deal. But, you know, this is something that is in direct defiance of the courts. The Trump administration was ordered by the courts. This is wrong. You've got to bring him back. And now they're saying they can't. And he's now in one of those horrendous detention centers where they've been sending people, shaving their heads and shackling them and, you know, cramming like 100 people to small cells where they're confined for like 23 and a half hours. It's just abysmal conditions. I saw his wife, you know, pleading, please don't use my husband as a political pawn. You know, he had 3 children, a wife. His wife was pleading, please, we've got to get my husband back. She's scared. And Adam Schiff was talking today. This is definitely a constitutional crisis because it's like Trump is just moving closer and closer to becoming a dictator. You know, defying the courts, defying the law, saying, well, this is what I'm going to do. And what was the scariest thing was when he started talking about, well, maybe we will send you more prisoners. He used the word homegrown prisoners, yes, meaning American citizens.
That's really the thing that people want to talk about. Yeah. Because, please go on. Please.
Well, I was just going to say the scary thing is, you know, they're starting off with people like this, but who's to say they're not going to go after the transsexuals, homosexuals, late night comedians who criticize Trump? You know, where's it going to end? Us, you know, where's it going to end? You know, they can just say anybody is a criminal and deport them according to terms like this if someone does not stop this. It's setting a very, very bad precedent and definitely defies the Constitution itself.
Well, what I understood is that he said that he wanted 5 more prisons. And
yes,
the issue is that when we take prisoners off U.S. federal, when we take them out of a federal prison, we no longer have to obey federal laws.
Yeah.
So to take Americans and ship them to another country where we are not obligated to keep federal laws. And so political prisoners, even those born in the United States, would be shipped to prisons in another country.
Yeah.
Political rivals of Trump.
Yeah. And this man,
for profit.
Yeah.
His friends arresting anybody who was a political rival would be arrested, and the people arresting the companies working for ICE who are friends of Trump would make a profit. So private companies are working with ICE to snag these people, and they're paid a certain amount of money every time they capture somebody.
This is just reprehensible. Let's see, the young man, I think his name am I saying it right? Abrego Garcia? That's his name. I was even thinking now, even if they did bring him back, they're going to bring him back. He's going to have his head shaved. He's going to be traumatized. And he's also going to talk. They don't want that. So I have a feeling we're never going to see him again. That's my fear.
Well, you heard about the Canadian actress that got arrested and sent off to ICE?
No, I didn't hear about that.
So, yeah, there was a Canadian actress that was arrested and sent off to ICE, and she was working for Holy Water, which has CBD in it, and they're based out of California.
Yeah.
And they said, you're dealing drugs.
Oh, my God.
I think she was Canadian, yeah. She was a Canadian actress. Actress Jasmine Mooney, 12 days in ICE custody.
In custody here in America, or where did they send her?
Well, she really pushed. I mean, she did a lot to get global attention, but she couldn't get in because there was an error. So she went through Mexico and she handed all the forms thinking that her visa would be removed, that they would get it back to her, no problem. And instead, what happened was that they took her immediately into custody and sent her off to ICE. And she wasn't even in the United States. They arrested
Oh,
her in Mexico at an immigration facility where she was trying to renew her visa.
that's insane.
Yeah, so there's a lawsuit, but she said when she got there, it was horrifying because she met so many women who were just regular people that got gobbled up by the system. And
Yeah.
I guess, uh, it,
So is that implying that there already are a lot of innocent American citizens being deported?
well, she's actually Canadian, but
Well, I
let's,
realize she's Canadian, but it was just the fact that she said there were so many other women there
well,
who,
we can take a look at this. This is CBC News. It's 1 minute clip. Let's see what we get here.
35-year-old Jasmine Mooney's family says she was detained by ICE March 3rd. They say she had been trying to enter the U.S. at the Mexican border with a visa application after her 3-year work visa was revoked in November.
She's been in shackles and handcuffs the majority of this time.
Jasmine's father, Stephen Mooney, says they were able to pull strings to start conversations at the highest level.
Normal Canadians or anyone else, there's 30 other people in her cell that have not even been spoken to by a detention caseworker. So there are people in there whose families don't know where their kids are.
On Thursday, BC Premier David Eby was asked about Mooney's situation in the U.S.
The nature of our relationship is so fraught right now that this case makes us all wonder, what about our relatives who are working in the States? What about when we cross the border? What kind of an experience are we going to have?
Stephen Mooney says his daughter is expected to be on a flight from Tijuana to Vancouver tonight. ICE hasn't commented on her case. Rafferty.
What do you
surprised they
think?
haven't. Well, no surprise ICE hasn't commented on the case. Jeez. It's just so blatantly unconstitutional. It's such a violation of human rights. It's things that we thought would, even 3 months ago, we thought would have been impossible to ever take place.
Yeah, so that's the constitutional crisis. There are protests planned, I think, every weekend, including this Saturday, for people who are able to get out and march. What do you think, Chuck? Are you getting nervous yet, or how?
I don't want to buy into the energy just yet, but at the same time, yeah, it's hard not to be a little nervous, to be a little rattled by this. Certainly to be overly cautious, to certainly want to keep an eye on what's going on, but it's just like Trump is just chipping away and chipping away and chipping away, and in this quest to be a dictator. And many are in agreement that's what he's trying to do. Heather Cox Richardson writes about it, that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to become a dictator. He started with the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court. He's rattling the people, what he's doing to the stock market. We can go on, but just things like this, he's just chipping away at it, chipping away with it, and just claiming rights, which is a lot of the tactic of a lot of bullies. They claim a lot of rights that aren't theirs, but finally they have people so beaten into submission and so frightened, they're shell shocked. They don't know how to respond to all of this. So much is going on at the same time.
Yeah. Well, are you ready to do some blitzes? Do you want to do
yes.
some? Yeah.
Let's do some blitzes.
Yeah. So, for those people who would like to receive a healing at this time, we can go ahead and pray for you or your loved ones. We can bring in the empath prayer if you like. Anything else you want to mention, Chuck, before we bring in the empath prayer?
Let's go for it.
All right, let's bring in the empath prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call in our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with And together collectively, we say, Amen.
Amen.
And for those of you who are requesting a healing at this time, we come together as a community and we pray that you receive a perfect healing, both for you and those you loved, those you love in mind, body, and in spirit. And again, together collectively, we say, Amen,
Amen.
Amen, Amen.
Amen.
All souls be healed. May all souls be healed. Well, Chuck, something tells me that we are going to have a lot of blitzes today.
Oh, I kind of have an inkling that's going to happen, Whimsy. Yes.
So this is our 26th show of season 3.
26 of season 3. We've done that many so far?
Did you look at your programming notes today, sweetie?
Yes, I did. I just didn't look at the number.
We've never done a show without programming notes. And I
know.
think it was like 2 years in, Chuck said, what are those numbers there?
I know what those numbers are. It's just hearing you say it out
Like,
loud.
Chuck, those are the program notes.
It's like, wow,
oh.
we've done that many shows. Okay.
Yeah, so this is so it's usually abbreviated on programming notes. It usually looks like the Bible. It'll go 3:26. Like, did you think I was giving you a Bible verse all this time?
Oh no, I would never think that, Whimsy. A Bible verse.
Verse 3, chapter 26. That's right. Verse 3, chapter.
Yeah.
All right. So
right here.
I guess we're getting the order to blitz, blitz, blitz away. I think I heard somebody say blitz, blitz, blitz away. If not,
yes.
if not, we'll just make it happen. Okay, listen. So first thing, Joel Tilson, welcome, shalom. Salam, Joel Tilson. King Farouk's grandson is in the house. He is our official floor director, and good to see him here. So his question is, major cities in Russia are under attack by Ukraine missiles and drones today. Any feelings about that? I guess I can't believe the world is just sitting back and letting a country like Ukraine get invaded. I mean, it's like, I don't know why there aren't U.S. troops on the ground. I mean, to put an end to this thing.
Well, look who our commander-in-chief is. Trump. I mean, there's a lot of things he should be doing that would be more presidential. I don't even know if he knows what to do, or if he's just listening to his so-called advisors, quote-unquote advisors, or if there's some hidden strategy behind this.
Yeah, I don't know. Joel says that Amazon is coming out with electric cars. Any feeling about that?
I had not heard that. So would this be Bezos be in competition with Musk with their own electric cars?
Yeah, but when I remote view, Bezos wins a lot of stuff. Like the whole going to Mars thing, it's going to be scrapped, but we're learning a lot about space travel from him. What we're probably going to do is floating cities, which are like they operate like massive cruise ships, and they have a low rotation of the Earth. And what they look like a jet flying by, only they don't make a lot of noise. So people are worried that there's going to be too much space junk. Absolutely, people are concerned that they're going to look out the window. There's going to be too many things in the air. But these massive ships, you can keep adding more cells, more apartments onto them, and they float. They have a very slow rotation around the Earth. So if you were to buy a condo, and they're insulated, so part of them they're working on would have hydroponics and would have fountains and streams and parks. And I mean, these are massive systems. And what would happen, and each one has their own fuel source. So every time if you had a honeycomb structure, theoretically, a honeycomb structure, a rotating system that was closed where you're piping in perfect air, etc.
Yeah.
And you had greenhouses, etc. And then you would just add another, you could just, with various technology, you could keep adding more systems until eventually you had
modules, honeycomb modules.
Yeah, and it never crashes, because if one of the honeycombs breaks down, you have to go to that honeycomb and correct or replace. But each one has its own fuel source, so you never have to be afraid of it crashing or, oh my God, where the ship is going down. That wouldn't happen because each one acts independently and communicates
Interesting.
through a main computer.
That's fascinating. I'd like to read more about this. I was just
Well,
thinking
you can't read it because I've remote viewed it, and so I'm telling you what's going to be coming out in the next 10, 15 years.
okay. Well, then you can share
And
with
it's
me in
also
private.
top secret, but basically
You can
that's
tell
what
me.
it is. So you have one fuel source that's shaped like a honeycomb, and that would
Yeah.
be your central hub of the cruise ship. You know, the central area, and then you would add. Well, you would add on to it, right? Just like a
Yeah.
ship, and then you could also have multiple tiers. You could have a first floor, second floor, until eventually you've got this massive thing floating in the air.
Yeah.
And what I found when I went into this remote and into this energy was that it really was like cruising. And I had no desire, particularly those children born into the system, I had absolutely no desire to return to Earth, not even on a holiday. There was no
Right.
interest.
Really?
It was like New Zealand. Like, why go?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, no offense to New Zealand, but I mean, like, if you ask Australians, have you been to New Zealand? Nah, we never go there. It had a kind of feeling like everything was so beautiful. Everything was so clean and well maintained, the system, and that the world had become trashed, dangerous. People were abandoning certain cities. And so why would you want? It's like going to Hollywood Boulevard. Do you want to walk around Hollywood Boulevard?
Oh no, not particularly.
Yeah, because so it's that kind of a feel.
Yeah, I live 15 minutes from Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not a pleasant place. The idea of it is beautiful, but the actual
Mhm.
physical place is not that great.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
So yeah, Amazon, Bezos is now
Bezos.
working. Yeah, Jeff Bezos is now working on this, and he hasn't been very public about it. But I was like, okay, I'll go in. I was like, wow, they each have their own fuel source. That's really cool.
That is quite innovative, the fact that it wouldn't bring the whole ship down. But when you mentioned the honeycomb, I immediately thought of literally bees and their honeycombs and how structurally perfect, their hives are. Whenever a hive is taken apart, the honeycomb inside, and the way they keep building upon it. So I even wonder if that served as an impetus for the design.
Yeah, and you have restaurants. I don't know if you've seen any of these restaurants where they're built into. There's one in Iceland where you get tomato soup restaurant.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this?
No, I haven't heard about that.
And it's inside of a greenhouse. It's called the Fromare. And while you eat there, you have bees flying around, but they're not the aggressive bees.
I
So
would hope not.
yeah, like I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die in here. I'm allergic. And people are like, no, no.
Yeah.
The Froheimer were like saying, no, basically it's a closed system.
Uh-huh.
And so this is the kind of closed system that I found myself in when I saw the future.
Oh.
Here's the soup they give you. And so there's tomatoes and cucumbers growing, and you're inside, and the bees are flying by your head, and the tomatoes
love
are
it.
flying by. And it's a renewable energy, and you're inside of a greenhouse. It's just one of the most fascinating experiences I've ever had. And the horticulture, everything. And so what Bezos is doing is he's experimenting with these closed systems, and the food is incredible, by the way.
Oh, I'd love to go.
And because, well, you control for mold and everything.
Yeah.
And the bees are so no stress. These bees, I mean, like, talk about happy bees.
Yeah.
This is what the table experience. You can see you're literally inside of a closed system, closed ecosystem with extremely clean food.
Yeah.
Grown there, and you are part of that ecosystem.
That is astounding.
Yeah, and so what happens when you live in a world like this,
Yeah.
and then the scientists are going down and they're doing radiation testing,
Yeah.
and some pockets of the world are really dangerous and they don't advise humans to go in. It's like growing up in that world, you wouldn't want to go back to Earth. Why?
Hmm.
What would be the
Well,
point?
it's almost like Garden of Eden or paradise.
Yeah, so that's basically what happens. And because as a result of what Bezos has done, he saves millions and millions of lives because
Yeah.
an asteroid hits, or we can create emergency shuttles to get people into the
Yeah.
system. And if there's a problem with oxygen levels, I mean, anything that goes wrong, people can be immediately escorted onto shuttles into these systems, and
Yeah.
we can build massive. There's massive amounts of space, limited space to house people for very little to no money. And so, as critical as I am of Bezos, I think it's brilliant, and I think that it will succeed.
Yeah.
And what it does is it allows scientists to get people to safety while they go back into Earth and try and salvage the ecosystem. But in the
Yeah.
end, Earth is the conclusion from scientists, I think, is that Earth is no place for humans. It's a place for, we can be part of the biosphere. We can come in if we want to be a part of the biosphere. Some humans
Yeah.
live there. But for the most part, it's better off if we just leave the animals alone.
I've often
I
thought
mean,
Mother Nature would like to just boot us off the planet for
right,
a few centuries,
the oceans do not require biodiversity from human hunters in
Mm,
order to thrive.
that's
So
true.
the oceans are not benefiting from us being here.
No, not at
There
all.
are oasis zones. If you look at the oasis, if you look at humans creating biodiversity in deserts, yes, if we do it properly, oasis zones are the salvation of the planet,
Yeah.
right? Because we're taking areas that are currently not habitable, and we're
Yeah.
making them habitable
So there
through
in the
through
deserts would be
oasis.
the
Yeah.
deserts would be a perfect place to test these out. But do you feel there are plans for, like, if we ever colonize other planets like Mars, this would be the approach? Creating these pods, these domes, and then maybe increasing the size, gradually populating a planet like Mars, as has been talked about.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is that you create small cells here on Earth,
Yeah.
and then you and then you also try and do it in space, basically.
Yeah. That's interesting. Now, one thing that occurs to me, I'm here on Earth, there's a specific amount of sunlight that's necessary. And how would you replicate that in space?
Well,
Unless they have lamps that can replicate sunlight.
we're rotating the Earth, so we're not leaving the Earth's atmosphere.
Oh, I thought these would eventually go into space and maybe go to
They
like
could.
space stations.
They could. They can operate on. Excuse me. They can operate. How they would work is they can go really low, down to like 5,000 feet or whatnot. So
Subterranean?
yeah,
Go
like
ahead.
if you
Yeah.
wanted to get a tour of the French countryside, then whoever is running the module, the city, could lower it so that you have a nice visual, and then at night take it up to higher levels if you wanted to pass more quickly. Like you can control.
Yeah.
And I think they're working on getting it to be as high as something like 70,000 feet.
Oh my
And
gosh.
oxygen levels are really low up there, but because they're
Yeah.
pumping in fresh air. But
Yeah.
what's cool is that you can drop it down to like 10,000 feet, 15. And
That's
so
ex-
air, and then you would be able to open up the top, and you
yeah.
would be able to breathe the air up there. You would also have direct sun, but they also will have full spectrum lighting.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about. Like, if there are plans to take this well beyond 72,000 feet, like yesterday when we saw that spaceship with the all-female crew, they went up 62 miles, right to the edge of outer space. And I didn't know if it would be possible to one day take things like this up that high.
What are you talking about? Like when they rescued those people?
Well, no, I was talking about yesterday in the news, Gayle King and Katy Perry, and I forget who the other women were, but it was a Bezos rocket. It was
Right.
mostly publicity, but I just remember it said they went up 62 miles above the Earth,
Yeah. 62
outer
miles.
space. So I'm wondering if it is possible one day that domes like this could be
Yeah.
taken up that
Yeah,
high,
they
put on space cities and so forth.
yeah, so this is an article that I wrote, Let's Make Gaza Bloom Again, which was based on the Negev studies where they were able to do things, close some parts of the system in the Negev to keep moisture in, like covering of the plants and all kinds of cool things. And now the Negev is blooming with
Wow.
trees and wildlife. Isn't that
Wow.
crazy?
I
Isn't
love
that
it. Just you're
crazy?
saying that, the energy of that, things blooming, growing, proliferating instead of destruction,
Yeah, so these
renewal.
right. So what Bezos is doing is he's taking these closed systems that they're creating in kibbutzes in the Negev and in Africa, by the way, through the Arab Foundation, other foundations,
Yeah.
and seeing if we can't do the same thing in these cities above the earth. And that, I can't wait. It's
I
like I
know.
love cruising too. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like if I went up to some beautiful world that was like Star Trek, where, you had this amazing food and all these fun activities and
Yeah.
no crime, and you had swimming pools and everything. I don't think I would want to there. I would have a desire to go back to Earth. Would you?
Really? I don't know. I'd have to try it out first, but I just might want to stay. But I think all of us who grew up with Star Trek and science fiction and all, it's kind of exciting to see this beginning to look like a reality, certainly
Yeah,
for the
very
future,
soon. I
to
think
see
that
promising things for the
Well, I
reality
think it'll be in our
of
lifetime. I
future.
think we'll
Yeah.
see it. We will see it probably in 5 years, I think.
Really? That soon?
Yeah, I think we'll start to see in about 5 years the early creation of these modules, because
Ah,
what's happening now with the new drone technology, if you're talking about drones you can live in, think
mhm.
about that. It's a drone that you can live in.
Yeah.
So, a drone has a different kind of fuel source, though.
Hmm.
So, but these are floating cities of the future. I
Yeah.
forget how I found out about it, but I thought I started. I do the remotes first, and
Hmm.
then I found out that Jeff Bezos was involved with doing this. But these are
Yeah.
some of the structures you can see here. Are you able to see this? Okay.
I can see this. Yes. Hope
Here's
our
what I
viewers can.
saw. Here's what I saw. You see this?
That's beautiful.
You see how they each can be added?
Well, and also
Each one has an individual module that you can
there,
add to.
there's such an economy to it. It's everything just flows and works together. It's beautiful. It sounds to me like Bezos may be more on track than Musk, with
Yes.
plans to colonize other planets and so forth. It sounds like he's got a much better plan here.
Yeah. And these floating cities, you can see here's they've already got the designs are pretty, both in the water and in the air. Flying, you can also see the flying cities, which
Yeah.
it just blows my mind. Look at how advanced some of these drawings have become.
Oh, they're beautiful. And also Sabrina just said geodesic dome. That was the terminology I was
Thank
trying to think
you.
of,
Yeah, that's
because
what I was
a
looking for too.
geodesic dome is incredibly strong, structurally strong, and relatively easy to put together.
Yeah. So the flying cities, like they'll be
It looks like the Jetsons.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
attachable. If you look at some of the early designs that they're starting to have, they're
Yeah.
actually, and then they've also done like, here's Amazon Architecture and Imagination for these floating
Yeah.
cities. The thing is,
Oh,
yeah, it's
I love
happening. It's
that
happening.
illustration, Future Cities, you just showed. I think that was done around 1930. In
Mm.
1930, I remembered that illustration
Oh,
predicting the
wow.
future of the year 2000. Well, they were a little off the mark, but it looks like it's starting to happen.
Yeah.
And in your readings, you actually got this could be within 5 years. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think that they'll start rolling out prototypes. They've already
Yeah.
had the flying car prototypes. They're selling them now. You can buy them. Part of what people were seeing in New Jersey was people just flying around in their private cars that got released.
Again, it sounds like the Jetsons. You know, the suspended houses up high, the flying cars. You know what I always thought about flying cars? The way people drive here on the ground. Do we want people up in the sky crashing into each other and
Well,
falling
that's
down?
what I like about these modular cities is that they don't crash.
Yeah.
They would
But-
literally have to disconnect from the entire system, which is impossible because they're
Mhm.
stuck.
Yeah.
And or every single individual cell would have to collide. So they don't actually fall like that. But so we have a comment from Joel Tilson. He says he hopes we can elect another Teddy Roosevelt to bring the oligarchs under control. You want to throw cards on that and see
Okay.
whether or not we're going to get some control over the oligarchs.
I've
Let's
always,
do that.
yeah. So are we, that's the specific question. Are
Yeah, what are we going to do?
the US, we're going to get control over the
The
oligarchs.
constitutional crisis, yeah. We'll just
Okay.
say the constitutional.
Okay.
crisis.
But how should I phrase the question for the cards?
Are
please?
Americans going to be able to do something about the constitutional crisis that's
Okay.
happening?
Meaning the American citizens themselves. Like
Yeah.
an uprising. Okay.
Or anybody? What's going to happen as a result?
Well, I just had a really good card pop out here, but I'm going to keep going here. But it was like good. Well, I tell you what, I think I have enough here just from that first card and a few others. Right offhand, I got to tell you, yes, look what I got. This jumped out of the deck. My first card, victory. But I also got other cards that are great. Life force, celebration, new life, but it will, of course, be at risk. Of course, there will be risk at this, but I'm getting, the people. The people are going to stand up. I think people are getting fed up with this. Very fed up. They're not going to take this much longer.
Yeah, my cards are good too. We have the bouquet. So this will pass. It will, the Constitution will hold, but consider it a gift. Whatever is happening now should be seen as a gift.
Yeah, it can never be taken for granted.
The opposition is associated with death and destruction, the sickle hammer of death. That is our opposition. So they're just going in and chopping everything up.
Okay. So if I may please ask, because I don't want to interrupt you, but would you say that signifies the Trump administration?
Yes.
Okay.
Doji.
Yeah, Doji. Yeah.
I call him Doji.
Doggy. Yeah.
What's interesting is that the hope and the fear is sailing away, that everything is being taken away. But then the rider who comes, the warning and the rescue, also it's got the LBGT flag, which is great. So we save ourselves.
Excellent. Yes. And I think we've been saying that for several weeks now in various ways. Yeah, we are going to have, we've said we have to save ourselves. It's up to us, the individuals, the people. And I think we just are getting further confirmation of that. This feels good. I'm sorry if I interrupted you. I didn't mean to do that.
You didn't? No, not at all. So have you heard the latest about Doji? I call it Doji. What do they call it? Doge?
Doge, I think, is the correct pronunciation, though I have heard Doji. Some were even saying doggy for a while.
Doggy. And you know that there was a Russian hack of the system, right? There was an alert on that.
Yes. Apparently, they had a username and a password to get in to some of our top level secrets, confidential, like labor records, work records, illegal immigrants, their financial information, work records.
Yeah, absolutely terrifying.
It is.
So the question of the day, will throw cards on Abriego Garcia to see if he's coming home.
A little scared to even ask that one.
God.
Oh. Coming home. He's coming home. Is he coming home? Yes. I'm getting a whole mixed bag here. So I'm trying to find something conclusive here. It's like it's such a complex issue. That's why the cards are just like all over the place. I'm not getting conclusive of what's going on. I'm getting obvious things. Obviously, decisions are going on right now. Big shadow. I got physical body. I think that's referring to himself physically being detained. His survival right now. There's despair, a lot of deceit, and of acknowledging that, deprivation is just horrible conditions he's in. But the judgment card popped out. And as we know, that's the whole thing this is based on, what's going on in the courts right now. The courts are telling Trump, you are in defiance of the law. You need to do this. And that's the basis. But what worries me is I got this loss card, and I'm not sure quite what to make of that. Does that mean he's not coming home? Or if it's a loss for the Trump administration, I'm not sure. And I'm trying to find some other cards here. That's why I'm saying they're just going all over the place here, to where I'm almost thinking I should just turn it to you. What are you getting? What are you getting?
The deep well. So it forced him into a situation, Garcia in a situation that it was a very it's a very intense situation for him, that kind of card.
Yeah.
This is the seducer. So the opposition are seen as seducers. Hi, aggravated progressive. How you doing? Just saw someone here. So the Trump administration is seen as having seduced people.
Yeah.
The seducer who's got the lookout and trying to see about a crime. As for the person who's been deported, they've gone into this deep kind of hibernation, self-protection. This is how I get when a disaster strikes. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? That kind of an energy.
Yeah.
The hope and the fear, the looking glass. His case is being closely examined. He has the star over him. He's become a star. He's become a symbol. Spiritually, what his church would say to him is that he kind of had the strength and support to endure this, to be a star, to be a testament for other victims. And so in that sense, even though it wasn't his fault, this is an opportunity for him to draw attention to the world of this injustice. And so that is kind of how he's trying to view it.
Do you mean like on a soul level?
That's
like
right.
His soul
like
is being a hero here. His soul is being noble.
I am bearing
like
the
a
cross.
sacrifice.
Yes, I bear the cross for others.
Wow.
Who don't have my voice, who are not a star.
That's
and
amazing.
So I look at it from a deep well, like maybe there's some kind of divine purpose. Maybe I can help draw attention to what has happened, and in that sense, be of service to the world.
Yeah.
Which
that makes sense.
Which is also what the actress from Canada had said when she was released, is that she was famous. And so, I mean, she had all these people, this power system behind her to get her out. And that was able to draw attention to what was going on in ICE custody.
Yeah, there's no question. There is power and responsibility with any kind of fame. And these people are using it for a noble cause. And that makes a lot of sense, what you just said.
So let's see if we've got one or two other questions. Thank you, Rose Blue, for the donation. People want to know if the courts will hold. People are a little bit concerned about the fact. Yes. Sheila said that Sheila did a remote view and she saw Garcia getting returned home. That makes sense because I got a star card.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. I was getting non-conclusive there. That's why I wanted to see what you had to say, but I'm glad to hear that.
So will the courts hold? What is the future of courts in America? Will they be able to take control of Trump? The courts versus Trump.
Okay. So in other words, will the courts prevail?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
basically what Kim and everybody else wants to know.
Okay. Well, I got a very good first card, I'll tell you that.
I think it's because the Supreme Court created this mess, according to Kim.
I agree with that.
That's true.
Yes. Well, I think I already know my answer here, just from
Okay.
two cards. Well, the first card is usually the most positive. I got bravado, first of all, and survival and bravado. I take that as a big yes. Absolutely. Absolutely, the courts will prevail over this. The courts will survive. But what do you have?
Really good stuff. It's
Yeah.
interesting that it's seen as infected from the roots.
Yeah.
It's like when somebody when you uncover a problem and then you think, well, management is the problem. They go, well, it's from the roots. It's like the head of it. But you have the family tree here, which would indicate that the bribing of officials, the corruption of the courts, it's been a problem for a very, very long time. This has been developing for a very, very long time. It has
Mhm.
very old roots. The opposition is walking around in a maze. So the Supreme Court and the courts are looking like they're just spaced out. They don't know what the hell. This is the Supreme Court right now, completely lost in their own world.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's really scary. The hope and the fear, the stork, the message, the bad omen. And then the final outcome for the courts is the garden of peace.
Hmm.
In the next 4 years, we will have an overhaul of the courts. That's the message I want to give people today. So within 3 to 4 years, there will be a complete overhaul of the courts, and within 2.5 years the courts will balance out. Now I don't know how that's going to happen considering
Yeah.
the conservatives here, but
That's what I'm wondering
according to
too.
these cards and according to the remotes, things balance out in about 4.5 years.
Yeah, because I was wondering, like, even if Trump is out of the picture, it's going to be J.D. Vance. He's still going to make probably the same kind of conservative appointments.
You know what, I feel sorry for J.D. Vance.
Oh, I don't think he knows he's not qualified. He knows he's not ready for this. I think we've gotten this before in our readings. He's scared to death right now.
I don't know what's in the closet with him.
Yeah.
What do you think? Because
Well, you have mentioned that he identifies as female.
well, what do you get with him? Because when
Oh,
I go in, everybody said, no, this is a joke, but I don't get that
well,
it's a joke.
if you had asked me what I get from him, is probably an obvious thing to say, but he's very disingenuous. I see someone who's fake, who's trying too hard. He's trying too hard to present this image, and it's just a facade. You know how facades, when there are little holes and cracks in it, you see through it, the light starts coming through. That's the way I think of him, just a big facade, and he's not holding it up very well. And I think especially if he becomes president, he's under the magnifying glass, he's in the fishbowl of the presidency, it's going to be impossible to hold the facade up unless he just has enough people helping him.
Do you think that they've got a secret on him? Do you think that
Yes.
Do you think that this thing, evidently, according to people that lived with him, it was a thing? There's people saying that this is only one picture, but that there are many more that haven't been released. So this is
I'm sure. I feel that. Yeah, definitely. There's some skeletons in his closet.
Well, according to the rumor, this was something he did, and that this picture is just one picture, and that there are multiple.
Really? Do you think there could be like sexual type of pictures, anything like that could be used to blackmail him?
Does this look like somebody that should be the VP of the United States?
Well,
I'm not downing, not because he's trans.
Yeah.
That's not.
We're not putting that down.
We
Not
don't
at all.
care about that.
Of course not.
It's about you want integrity. You want.
and
That's
he's very
what I'm having
disingenuous.
I'm having a problem with that.
Yeah. I just get he's extremely disingenuous. And I mean, look how he used to trash Donald Trump just a few years ago, and suddenly he's kissing his ass and going along with everything and being the good little puppet for Donald Trump. I don't think he has any integrity.
Let's take a look at the future of J.D. Vance.
Yeah. What's the future future of J.D. Vance. Whoa. So in here, it's not good. It's the future of J.D. Vance. What's the future of J.D. Vance? Oh. Oh.
Excuse me.
It's not good. Well, I'm getting, first of all, I think, yeah, he is going to be likely president because I got the leadership card. And devotion normally would sound like a good card, but I think in this case it means that he's very much in cahoots with the Republican Party, the MAGAs, devotion. He's very stuck with them, leadership. But as far as just asking what's his outcome, I got shame, deprivation, and loss. Like, it's just going to be a disastrous presidency. He is going to be miserable. He's going to be stuck. That's what I'm getting
He
from
doesn't
this.
want it. Yeah.
No, he doesn't want it at all. That's obvious.
So
But
White
yeah.
House, the kingdom, he's headed to the kingdom. So
Yeah.
I would confirm that that's probably taking the White House. His
Yeah, I think so.
opposition is the man. But usually this is a good man. So the good man is against him. Hopes and fears that he'll be under investigation. He's terrified that his stuff will come out. The Looking
Yeah.
Glass investigation. This is a guy who constantly is in fear. The pictures are going to come out. The stuff, picture of him with his pants down, passed out. Why were his pants passed down? Was he servicing people? Was he being serviced?
Yeah.
Clearly they got dirt on this guy. It's so
Well,
obvious.
Well, may I ask you, do you
Fear of the Looking Glass. Final outcome for him, it's a roll of the dice. This guy, I'm telling you, is practically suicidal. This guy is trapped. Look at that
Wow.
roll of the dice in his future. That's not auspicious.
Yeah. When you said on one show you did not see him making it past one term.
God,
You know,
even if
no.
that.
Well, let me ask you, do you think there are homosexual related pictures in his past? That could be what it's about.
According to Jay, there's a picture of him passed out with his pants down. There's a photo of Vance.
I mean, either way,
This
it's going to be humiliating,
It's like freaking
devastating.
Brokeback Mountain. People that have to live in complete hiding because
Yeah.
the world is so crazy. I mean,
you think about,
who cares? Like, I should.
well, yeah, exactly. I don't care either, but nonetheless, it would be unbelievably scandalous in his position. If this did come out, there were pictures like that. It certainly would destroy his marriage, his family, the presidency. And I got that card, shame.
Yeah.
Lots of shame.
Two of Pentacles is like you're gambling in Vegas. It's like, that's not a future.
No.
Oh my God.
No,
well,
he's a sad person.
Yeah.
No question about that.
Well, sweetie, did you have a good time today, even though the subject matter was kind of heavy today?
I always have a good time with you, Whimsy. I love doing this show, and I love the people out there. I really do.
Me too. I do
Yeah.
too. So what's going on with you? Any news the audience needs to know about?
Well,
you?
I'm doing some commissioned art for people. I've got one thing that's rather big. It's for a person who is famous, but I can't talk about it. It's very secret.
Oh.
If I ever can talk about it, I'll tell you. It might fall through, but I'll tell you after the show, Whimsy. I'll tell you
It
privately.
won't fall through. It won't fall through.
You don't think it will? Okay. Thank you.
No.
So I've got that going on, and I'm doing my work for you. When I say I know you people out there, I mean it, because a lot of you I've talked to on the phone. Whimsy, you have some great people. And it's just such a joy to,
I do.
sorry about that. I told someone not to call here during the show. But no, I get to talk to people personally, get to know you. And then when I see names on here, I'm like, oh, I know that person. I know that person. I've talked to them. And it's just a really great feeling. We've got a great family here.
It's funny. Aggravated Progressive says, "Psst, doesn't everybody have a photo like that out there?" Exactly. Like that.
It's true.
That would be the liberal response. Like, oh man, like doesn't everybody? I must be missing out because I don't have a photo like that out there.
No, but it was said, those of us who were around back in the 1980s, thank goodness cell phone cameras didn't exist then. because we would have a lot of stuff on
Exactly.
us right now. All the stupid stuff we did in college and things,
Oh yeah, 70s and
I
80s
have my
before the
share.
whole
Yeah.
AIDS thing hit. Yeah, people were
I'm
out of
glad it's not
control.
documented,
All right. Well, if you're trying to get in for a reading with Chuck Dransfield, or if you need a medical consult or paintings, etc., you can contact him through dransfieldchuck@gmail.com to schedule your appointment. If you need to reach me, you can find the information below through Booksy. All right, that's all we have for you
Okay.
today. Anything you wanted to add, Chuck?
No, I guess Sasha just wants to say goodbye to everybody, and I had
Also,
fun.
your channel. You have a channel yourself.
Oh yes, of course, duh. I have a channel, Chuck's Captivating Chronicles, and I do a show on Mondays, a live stream, Chuck's Captivating Chat, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. For the most part, it's about old Hollywood, celebrity stories. I Love Lucy, but it's kind of taken on its own life because I've got wonderful viewers who just come in with their questions and topics, and I just go with it wherever it takes me.
Well, that sounds very cool.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you all next time. Bye,
See you
everyone.
next
Thank
time. Bye,
you.
everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
This is my last show before I go to Israel, by the way.
I know. I
Oh.
know. Oh.
Oh, well.
Oh. But you'll be back and we'll do lots more.
That's right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Bye.